At the end of the path, I find myself in a great hall with only the sound of rain for comfort. The waterlogged red carpet squishes beneath my feet as I approach the center of the room. Once there, I behold a beautiful dining table, on which rests china and silver of the finest construction, as well as the remains of a fantastic feast. As my eyes continue to adjust, I see many chairs surrounding the table, each holding a dinner guest. Noticing movement, I approach the chair at the table's head, but as the truth of the matter dawns on me, I recoil in horror. The host of the feast is a corpse, as are all the invited guests. An army of foul, wriggling insects have made homes in their remains, and this is the moment I saw. This once splendid feast was nothing more than a requiem for the damned. I take a moment to steady my shaking hands and slowly back away from the table. Desperate to lose sight of the abomination before me, my gaze landed on the chairs upon which the dead were seated. This is a mistake, but the chairs proved to be even more terrible than the feast itself. Each one is covered in a layer of spikes that run from the seat up the back and down the arms. This explains the color of the carpet beneath my feet. I can only pray that the unfortunate diners were dead when the meal began. Or if not, it is simple task to envision the agonized screams that must have sprung forth from their mouths. My mind grasped frantically at the possibility that these souls had committed some terrible crime, for which this was punishment. Though in truth, I suspect they had committed no crime at all. There would be no tomorrow for those unfortunates. This was their last supper. I squint down the corridor and proceed north. Against all hope, I make it to the front door. Break it down, someone cries, so I give myself the effort. In tandem with Nick and Grimoire Weiss, I slam my body against the thick, sturdy door. On the third try, it gives way. We find ourselves sprawling on the ground outside the castle. The storm is in retreat. The clouds above are still dark and foreboding. But to the west, I can see a thin shimmer of sunlight trying to break through. How can I thank you? I cried as tears join the rain on my cheeks. I would surely have died in there. Looking down, I suddenly notice that my dress is in tatters, and sheepishly trying to cover my exposed skin. Your dress? Asked Weiss. Then you are a woman, madam. I am. I profited to a smile. I suppose it comes as something of a surprise, seeing how I only exist. How I exist only in the form of words. Okay. I can see that the one known as Nick is disappointed that the torn dress will be given no further description. But he hides it well. With a nod and a shrug, the three of us set forth to our awakening. But behind us, an awakening of another kind is taking place. Black smoke fills the Abani castle, providing the countless damned souls inside with their final shroud. After a moment, the castle windows shatter with a mighty roar. A fresh breeze blows through the hallways and corridors, clearing the smoke away for good. As you watch in awe, uncountable black shadows slowly flicker to life, crossing to and fro in front of the broken windows. The castle's dead have awakened to a new life. Shades.
You have anything to say about that?
Hopefully there will be no labyrinth next time.
I hear that.
Okay, let's drink something. Okay.
And another victim. This work certainly is trying.
Okay, let's do it.
I figured a book like you would be into all this word stuff, Vice.
Even I have my exceptions. Now let's be off.
A colony of massive sculptures was visible in the distance. There are tall forms scraping against the sky. Vice and Nick have never seen such a sight. Their eyes widened as they tried to take it in.
Those buildings must be huge if we can see them from this far away. What do you think, Vice?
As Vice considered his answer, the sun beat down on them with renewed ferocity.
Perhaps they are some manner of mirage.
Dead. Under the sea, a mirage or two would hardly be an unexpected sight. Nick nodded and wiped the sweat off his brow, leaving a trail, sand in its place. He thought he'd never been so thirsty. The ancient road on which they walked was black and cracked with age. Here and there, thin wisps of grass pushed up through the rocky surface, as if defying those who had laid this material down of their home. The heat reflected from the road made Nick lightheaded. His feet hurting, he crouched down to rest. I don't know how much longer I can do this. Is someone playing a joke on us or what? Complaining had already begun. Vice tried not to let his eyes roll too much. Joke, he said. No joke. This road leads to the city of art. Perhaps the path itself is simply some manner of grand artistic work. You don't sound very sure of yourself there. Perhaps not. Thinking of it this way might make it easier for you to bear. Nick glanced at Vice's grinning face, shook his head and resumed walking. As time passed, Nick's feet grew more painful and his throat drier than he thought possible. He tried not to look further than the next step ahead because the bright sunlight made him hesitate to trust his own senses. We are definitely getting closer, said Vice in an effort to cheer his companion. Yes, this much is certain. Encouraged, Nick lifted his gaze. Suddenly he stopped walking, choosing that to stand in the middle of the road with his mouth and eyes wide open and his finger pointing in the distance. Water! He cried. It's water! Water? Asked Vice. Preposterous. I don't see any water. Over there, just ahead of us, look! The sun is reflecting off it. Before waiting for a response, Nick sprang to life and bounded toward the sight. What in the... There was no water. There was nothing but sand in every direction. Nick closed his eyes and sighted as Vice floated up behind him and chuckled softly. I believe this is known as a mirage, he said. Many a desert traveler has spoken of such things. Many a desert traveler has spoken of such things? Okay. Nick shook his head, bewildered, and he pointed off in the distance. Eyes wide open once more. Wait, there it is. Just missed it. Look, it's right there. Nick sprinted off again, leaving Vice with no choice but to follow. After a few minutes of running, Nick came to a halt. Could have sworn it was right here. Confused, he put his hands up to his eyes and rubbed them vigorously. As soon as he stopped, he noticed the blue, shimmering pool of clear water just over the next rise. With a shout, he bounded off in search of it. The chase continued for nearly an hour. Pillen, exasperated Vice, finally floated up to Nick and struck him in the face with his cover. Enough! You blithering idiot! Stop this at once! There is no water here. Nick's face clouded. There isn't? There is not. Perhaps next time you will listen to me when I tell you as much. Ice paused for a moment, then continued speaking in a slightly kinder tone. However, I suppose this mad chase was not altogether wasted. It seems we have arrived in the city of art. Nick looked up. Stretched out before him was a row of impossible tall sculptures. The journey was at an end. "They're huge," cried Nick, completely forgetting the heat and pain of the past few hours. Never seen anything this big. Each sculpture was formed from roughly the same shape. A tall rectangle that stretched up towards the sky. Where the similarities ended. Most were covered with panes of glass that reflected light in 1,000 directions, while others seemed to be nothing but frames of steel. Some had tall spires on their tops, while others possessed triangular caps. "What kind of city is this?" said Nick. "Where are the people? Where are the houses?" Perhaps the land is intended exclusively for artistic use. The debate continued as they made their way through the city. Miracles of artistry were everywhere. Great iron crates with wheels sat silent on a steel grate.